Hello. This afternoon I will be your host as we briefly discuss the topic of social justice in this Transformation of Community series. My name is Alex TD, and this is a look on the surface. With the topics that we've covered in our previous series up to this point, I have to say that I find social justice to be a loaded topic, and to be quite transparent, the words themselves is something that I do not quite comprehend clearly at all. So what I will be doing is exploring this concept from the way that I comprehend it. We're exploring and unpacking it in this way. Let's first begin with the word social. The word social seems to be innocent, completely innocent of anything harmful, dangerous, horrendous, or admonishable. Social seems natural to me. It's difficult for me to conceive an inherently negative connotation for the word social. Someone's individual sociability may vary, especially in personality and temperament with introversion, extroversion, and so on and so forth. But that's beside the point. I'm going to take a look at the etymological definition of social to see if I can more clearly comprehend this idea. Social, as an adjective, devoted to or relating to home life, community, living with others, companionship of allies, united, living with others, and it can be related to marriage or conjugal companionship. So, social, from what I gather, in etymological definitions, meaning the root, the foundation, the origin of the words, it seems to go hand in hand with the current series of community. So it's aptly placed from this point. Now, this is where, in my mind, things begin to twist. So next I'm going to take a look at the word justice. The word justice is a noun. The exercise of authority in vindication of right by assigning reward or punishment. Also, quality of being fair and just, moral soundness and conformity to truth. Now, I by no means claim to be a genial, extraordinarily intelligent individual. So when I hear these words in tandem with what we just learned regarding social, I don't find these words to go together. And in fact, I might even go as far as to say that social and justice together creates an oxymoron. Because if social implies this natural occurrence, then it's as if justice implies an unnatural control, perhaps, of social. Let's look at the base word just and see what that might do. So just as an adjective. Morally upright, righteous in the eyes of God, also equitable, fair, impartial in one's dealings, fitting, proper, conforming to standards or rules. That piece of impartial to one's dealings, impartial in one's dealings, that triggers the sounding of an antonym to social. Looking down here further, I see justness as a noun, quality or fact of being equitable or by right, which is more or less the same as justice that we looked at previously. And unjust as an adjective, relating to others, sinful, perpetrating injustice of actions. So it's relatively close to the more of the same. This might just be me, but in hearing these original root meanings of the words social and justice in tandem with one another, as oxymoronic as this is beginning to sound, this sounds similar to something that has been reported and publicized a lot lately regarding, I'm trying to remember the word for it. Censorship. Regarding censorship. From what I'm gathering so far, social justice sounds like censorship. And perhaps even a perpetuation of this new popularized trend called cancel culture, which I don't imagine it's anything new. It's just a new buzzword, a new way of calling it. So social justice then became censorship, then became cancel culture, then becomes God knows what. I find that intriguing on a disturbing level. To me, this brings up an example that may look something along the lines of this. So I'm going to localize this example regarding this current community series where we've discussed the inclusion, the collaboration, and now this idea of social justice. Let's say that I enjoy listening to a certain kind of music, jazz, let's say. Then perhaps one day a neighbor comes and knocks on my door and says something to the effect of, "That music you're listening to." I said, "Oh yeah, what of it?" I can hear it. The neighbor can hear the music. I say, "Oh, well, okay." And then the neighbor might then continue to tell me that he doesn't like the music. In fact, he wants me to stop listening to it altogether. So that way he no longer has to or needs to, however you want to phrase that, be subjected to listening to the same music that I listen to. And I might be cordial and I say, "Well, thank you for sharing that. I don't know why you felt the need to come all the way over here to tell me that." But it's evident at that point that a problem has arisen. The neighbor has included himself in my life. And from the get-go, the neighbor makes it evident that he's not interested in collaborating. So we could say that my listening to jazz music at home is the natural social element of this concept that we're exploring. And we could say that the neighbor expressing himself that he does not like my music, in fact, he wants me to stop listening to it altogether so that he no longer has to be subject to also hearing it from his own home. We could say that the neighbor is this justice element of the concept. Because according to justice and just, to him, it must be unfair or immoral, unequal in some fashion that he could hear my music from where he lives. So where do we go from there? When I consider someplace like America that has been touted as the land of the free and the brave. America, the land of the free and the brave. Yeah. If that were being expressed by all truthfully, why then would a land like that need something such as social justice? From where I'm standing, social justice, from what I'm gathering, just might be the antithesis, that is, the opposite or an antonym to a place like America, which is supposedly known for being the land of the free and the brave, which part of like the American dream sort of thing, if you catch where I'm going with that. Because the natural social element seems to coincide with the free element, and perhaps even the brave element. So if me freely, bravely, through a natural social expression, would be listening to jazz music in my home, why then would it matter to have a need for justice towards or against such an occurrence, as in our example with the neighbor? It seems like we've found ourselves coming into a slightly more globalized, generalized, externalized version of where we began this current community series, where each of us are living in a country such as America, where our idea is that this is the home of the free and the brave. And we have chosen to include ourselves as a part of that land, that idea. However, it seems to, in the example that we've presented, it seems as though there has not been the realization that there are numerous others with the very same. It's almost as if there's a wish to not have others included in that land, in that idea. There certainly is no wish to collaborate with the others in that land and idea based on the way that the neighbor would be entering the situation. Let's continue unpacking this a little further. I think where this is taking me as I'm unpacking this the way that I comprehend it, I think this is taking me towards a way of describing this concept that might be more useful. So, for example, if we began with social justice, but the words themselves appear to be an oxymoron and an antithesis to some place like America, land of the home and the free, then perhaps societal justice would be more helpful, might be more accurate, might be worth something getting behind. So here, societal as an adjective comes from society. So let's follow that. Society, companionship, friendly association with others. Interesting. Fellowship, association, alliance, unity, community. Interesting. So perhaps with our neighbor example, perhaps I might be able to incite some degree of collaboration if I were to ask a question along the lines of, well, sir, Do you wish for social justice? Or do you wish to be part of the land of the free and the brave? Now, naturally, I can imagine getting a funny look asking a question like that. However, like I mentioned, it may provide the instigation for some mutual comprehension, collaborating to get to that point. So, if I were to slightly change this concept from social justice to societal justice, where it clearly discusses friendly association with others, fellowship, alliance, union, community. Maybe what's unfair to the neighbor is that perhaps I listen to my music too damn loudly on a consistent basis. And he may actually like my music that I listen to. He just doesn't want to listen to it that loudly from where he lives every damn day. So here we've begun to find a resolution. Here we have begun to change this concept into something worthwhile, into something useful, into something helpful rather than harmful. Because it no longer has the same connotation. It's no longer about the neighbor impeding on my personal wishes for myself and my home. It is now about including my neighbor in a societal form of justice, because to him it's unfair to have to listen to my music from his house that loudly every day. So, to create that societal justice, to be friendly, in friendly association with the neighbor, to create alliance, union, in community with that neighbor, it could be a simple matter of turning my music down to a level that is not or less bothersome. Or perhaps there are certain days when the neighbor is not around, and it doesn't matter how loudly I listen to music on that day, those days that the neighbor is not around. A whole new world has just opened up, just from the slight change of wording and conceptual comprehension. To me, that's a very simplistic form of magic. We'll leave this to your imaginations to run off in thought experiments and other postulations, meditations, such. That'll be all for now. I thank you for your time. My name is Alex TD, and this has been A Look on the Surface.